from VIIT, and I'm in my fourth year right now. So let's get started. So first of all, I want to ask you all a simple question, sir. So how are you? How are you now? How are you? How are you doing?
Yeah, we are fine.
I'm doing good. Enjoy my working from home from
Working
last
from
one and
home.
a half year. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So everything is going well as of now.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So everyone is safe.
Yes, we can say
Yes.
that.
Okay. So you can say, okay, all right. So you can say that you all are safe. But do you all know that you all are cyber safe? Are you aware of that?
No, not so.
I wish no one could answer this question.
All right, all right. So let's get started. We'll get to know soon that if you are safe or if you're just safe or cyber safe. So let's get started. So here's the session of cyber awareness from VIT Pune. So you all can see the cutouts like newspaper cutouts, right? So what is going on right now is a COVID situation. So since COVID, like as per Sir said, everyone's working from home, so everything is getting online. So what is happening because of this is you can see the headlines: Domino's data breach, name, address, other details over 18 crores order were leaked. So what happened is because of Domino's not paying attention, or maybe you can say like not giving much attention to the security purposes, like more than 18 crore of the orders were leaked. Not like what orders. So you all can say in these orders what happened was the name of the customers, then the addresses, the phone numbers, are maybe even credit cards were leaked on the dark web. So a tweet recently came into, because of this thing, a tweet recently came into this, like people can't even eat pizza without being cyber safe. So this is how like harmful cyber security, like not paying attention to cyber awareness will be. So you all can see cyber crime surges in COVID's name. So what happened is due to this work from home thing and COVID situation, like 300%, the increase in cybercrime has been increased by like 300%. And the third heading says that data of 10 crore MobiKwik users. You all know MobiKwik, right? It's like Paytm, online payment and all. So 10 crore, like you all can say approx like 0.75 sorry, 7.5% of the India's population, the MobiKwik users has been leaked. So it contains phone numbers, then again credit card numbers, then their transaction details and everything. So this is because they are not paying attention to cyber security and their cyber safe wellness. So what is cyber awareness? So let's get into a deeper part. So what is cyber awareness? Anyone? Sir, you're aware?
Yes, we are, but maybe if you could light on
All
that,
right.
then it will be
All
good.
right. Okay. So cutting it short. So cyber criminals take advantage of your trust, fear, and greed. So what cyber criminals do is like they can manipulate you. They can manipulate you, or maybe that by manipulation they can gain your trust, and then they can acquire your device, or maybe because of your fear, like by chance if the cyber criminals hack a small amount of thing, small amount of any small amount of data breach he has got, and maybe he is trying to frighten you by saying that I have this data, and if you don't give me access, then this there will be a bad consequence. So because of that fear, what we do is we get frightened and sorry. Okay, so we get frightened and we might leak our own details. And the greed is like you all can see that cyber criminals say that you have won $5 million or maybe 5,000 rupees, and then because of that greed, we touch on the various malicious links, and we get trapped into those cyber criminal attacks. So cyber awareness training teaches you to spot fakes, avoid risks online, and use good cyber hygiene practices at work and at home. So why does it matter? So as per I stated that everything is getting more online, more digital. Even the non-technical sectors like businesses, banking, healthcare, everything is getting online, and crime is following the same trend. Like there are many, big ransomware attacks. We'll be studying these attacks in details. Then there are high-profile hacks in the news, as you all can see that many celebrities' accounts, then politicians' accounts are getting hacked, and there are few deep fake videos like some there's a person imitating Obama, or maybe some the Hillary Clinton dance which was viral and was trying to inject some viruses in other PCs. And there are phishing emails. We'll be studying more about phishing emails in details. So why should you care? So first of all, everyone in the online world, everyone who owns a device and who has an internet connection, active internet connection, can be a victim of this cybercrime. So if just one of your cyber accounts, if just one of your accounts gets breached, like it gets hacked, criminals can use it in various different ways. We'll be discussing that as well. So criminals target personal accounts, and like personal account, because of if my personal account is hacked, then because of that they can target my family members or maybe my colleagues, and they can hack their accounts as well. So this is called identity theft. So fraud and identity theft doesn't just affect an individual, so it can demolish all of your company's website, maybe administrative passwords, and all the data can be leaked, or maybe it can be extracted. Because of that, you won't be able to track your salary, you won't be able to track your business details, you won't be able to track your transactions. So everything good till now? Any questions?
No.
All right, so we'll be looking at these contents we came throughout our research. So these were the most important contents we found out. So there is like we'll be discussing password security, then phishing, email security, safe browsing, privacy, data security and encryption, ransomware, social engineering, and how to report an incident. So let's get started. So simple question, what is a password? Can you tell me what is a password and why is it used?
It's authentication for login on any of the
Perfect.
system.
Perfect. This is for authentication, right? So what a password does is protect your information.
Yes.
Like the company knows that you are you, right? So I'm Tanishk and I'm using my password. So company will get to know that I am Tanishk because I only know my password. But you all must be aware that there are too many passwords getting leaked, right? So because of that, a hacker or maybe a cyber criminal or maybe someone who doesn't like you or maybe like enemy of yours can use this password to gain the access to your account. So most of the people don't realize that there are various common techniques to crack this password, and it is so easy. We'll be checking it out soon in a live demonstration. So let's get to the how do victim gets hacked part. So there are there are many attacks, but these are the four most common ones. So dictionary attacks. So what in a dictionary attack what happens in a dictionary attack is, so sorry, I'm getting some noise from can you please turn off your mic? All right. So yeah, dictionary attacks. So what are the dictionary attacks? So in the dictionary attack, what like if I'm a victim and I don't know much about password security and I'm not aware of this passwords, how to frame them, then what dictionary attack, I'll just put my normal name. Like for example, the dictionary word, you can say extension. Let's take a word extension. So I'm putting my password as just extension. So what a hacker can do is easily he can track these dictionary words easily, because there is a lot of database available. You must be aware of database. What is a database, right? So there are a lot of database available, and what hackers do is they can run each and every password on these websites or maybe the company websites to log in. So dictionary, my suggestion is not to use the direct dictionary words, although you all won't be using it, but it's just a fundamental approach. Then cracking security questions. So as per I said that there are too many like social media account, and privacy is also important. So privacy, so if the accounts are not private, then for example I have my Facebook account, and maybe a hacker can check my Facebook account and he can see all my details, like if I tag my family and my friends, my pets, my pet's name, and whatever it can be. So security questions, like if we put the simple security, you all must be knowing security questions, right, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so security questions may they there are some questions like what is your pet's name, or maybe what is your wife's name or something like that. So if we simply tag, if we are not private online, we'll be studying about the privacy as well. So if we are not private online, then hacker can easily gain access to our information because it's profile is public, and because of that they can crack the security questions easily. So my suggestion is instead of writing your pet's name, just write a random phrase you remember, or maybe a most for example, a chemical formula, IX sodium ascorbate. That is your pet's name. Just put that one. If you're a chemist, chemistry fan, so you can put this name, or maybe any word you like, but it shouldn't be related to your family or maybe your relatives and anyone. So simple passwords you all must be knowing. You all must be aware of 1111222233312345 6 ABC 1234 and so on. These are the simple passwords. So I don't need to tell much about this, but you all are completely aware of this simple password, how easily they can be traced. So reuse of passwords across multiple sites. So if I'm using one account and if that account gets hacked, they can get my details. If I'm using the same password everywhere, then the hacker, there are many different tools where you can say that just putting by your name, hacker can find out all the identities and all the accounts where he is in. So he's associated with, for example, he puts my name, Tanish Kothari, and he'll be finding out like I have an account on Facebook, Instagram, PayPal, everything he can use. And if I'm using the same password, he can just simply log in and use the same password across the multiple sites. So my suggestions. So first of all, we all know that each and every, most of the websites are now getting secure and they compel for at least 8 characters on their website for logging in, right? So you all must have encountered that it says that must at least 8 characters you need to put on your websites, right? While authentication.
Right.
Hello. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, most of the websites says. So my suggestions are like, so there are 4 different categories. You can use at least three or all four are also fine. So uppercase letters, minimum 2 to 3 uppercase letters, and then 2 to 3 lowercase letters. Then you can use one number like 0 to 9, any number you can use, 1 2 3 4 5, or any number of digits you can use. Then special characters are must. This is my experience. I told her like it is very important because I'll show you what happened when I don't put my numbers. I don't add my special characters. So you all can see this website. Have I been pawned? Okay. So I'll show you a demonstration. So I'm clicking on this link. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
So what I did was, with using my account on purpose, I signed in with easy passwords like 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Like these easy passwords I use. So what I'll do is kothari4@gmail.com. This is my unofficial email ID. Sorry for that. So in this website, my team will be sharing you this website, so you all can also check online. So I can click mine, and you all can see oh no pawn. What does this mean is, so this has been pawned in 2 data breaches. So my ID and password has been went into 2 data breaches, which happened recently or maybe before that. So what this does is, hacker can access my account and that password using this data breaches website and data. So we'll check now. What we'll do is, you all can see this. Can you see my search bar? What I'm
Yes.
typing? So I just put this, okay, 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. So you all can see this is a very easy password. I'll just copy and paste this over here. You all can check for yourself. So you all can see like this password has been breached. Like this password has been used by hackers like so many times, like 2 crore 42 lakhs 30,577 times. So this is not a secure password at all. But let's take a look into a secure password. So for example, I'm putting my password student at VIIT Cybercell. So and I'll put some. This is the numerical. So this should be a strong password according to me. Let's check out. So you all can see because of using this good password, never it has been never leaked or it has never been used by hackers. So coming back to the slide share again. Sorry. Yeah. So email security. I'd like to ask Tanish to talk about this email security. Tanish Bansali.
Yeah, so most common window for hackers to use is that inject your computers through emails, right? You will receive spam emails, you receive phishing emails from hackers. Uh, Recently, I've received one email like dated 6th June, which was 4 days back. Should I share my screen so that the email is visible?
Yes.
All right, Tanish,
Yeah,
can you share your
is this
screen?
yeah, is the screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah, so here I received this mail from HDFC Bank DMAT, which is not a registered website. I received this from hdfcbank.net. So whenever you receive such kind of mails, you should always check the domain name of the website. Like you have to check whether it is a registered domain or not. So if I copy it and if I open this link in new tab, it redirects me to another website, which is hdfcbank.com. So from this you can know that it is not a registered website, so always be aware of that. And this is the spam attachment, and you shouldn't download these kind of attachments because it can contain malicious files.
Mhm.
So this was received by me like on 6th June, as I said. I've reported it, and it's a phishing attack according to me.
All right, coming to the screen presentation now, once again.
Yes.
So okay, email security. Tanish.
Oh, can you proceed to the next slide? Yeah, so email contains malicious files, as I mentioned earlier. You shouldn't download these files, and you have to always check that the sender is a verified sender, and it is known to you that he or she is going to send you the mail. Next slide. So these are some do's and don'ts for email security. So the don'ts are do not open any attachment which the sender sends from an unknown sender. So email someone you do not email your username or password to anyone in your like whether you know this person or you don't know this person. Never share your passwords and username. Next slide. So these are some email threats which are phishing attacks, spamming, spoofing, and virus and malware which are transferred through emails. And so further will be explained by Atharva.
So okay, Atharva, can you please proceed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, should I share my screen?
Yep,
Okay.
I will turn it off.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Till now, we have seen the all the theory part of it. That is, we went through how we can keep strong passwords. We went through email security and all. But now, during this practical, we will take a insight. We will take an insight window through a hacker's perspective. We will see how hackers can take how ha- uh, hackers take advantage of you and what precautions you can take. So, as explained by Tanishk, we have seen that the email security part, we need to see the domains and all. So, I'll take you to a website known as emiki.cz. In this website, you can see that in through this website, you can easily manipulate or easily send a phishing email or a spamming email or a fake email. All you need to do is put your name, that is Chris. When for example I have put up a template for it, that is for from name Chris Van from Paytm Finance, email Chris 48004 at the SBI. Here it can be anything. It can be like you, for example, it can be your organization. Okay, it can be anything. And the best part of this, and the best and the worst part of this website is you don't need to own any email to send. You don't need to be authenticated to any email or Gmail servicing organizations. All you need to put up is email of whatever comes up in your mind or according to your target. For example, attacking an organization will require by acquiring some of its information like organization emails. For here an instance is I have put up Chris dot the registration number. For example, if your organization email format is like your name, your registration number, and your organization.com, then here I can easily manipulate it like this. For instance, I have put it Chris 4804 for your registration number at the rate your organization number your organization.com, and then two I have sent it my name, and then you this is something that you'll usually see in your email spamming. And this is all. When I click on send, okay, the email has been sent successfully. Let us move up to my window. Okay, so here we can see that we have got an email from Chris Van Paytm Finance at the rate organization.com. And let me give an example of at the rate organization.com. This can be SBI.com also. I guess it went into the spam one. Okay, it will take some time. We'll wait for it. Okay, yeah, here we got it. So here we can see that we got an email from chris.48004@sbi.com. So this is one kind of tool that hackers use to manipulate or attack and spamming through email. Okay, till now we have seen that what attackers do. Now we will see that what are our precautions that we need to take to be aware of this email spoofing. The first precaution and the first step that you need to see is you need to check the domain and the recipient name, that is the email address of the receiver. For example, here I have got that chris4.48004@organization.com, and this is, and then the next part you need to see is the last domain of it, that is organization.com. And when and you need to this organization.com are linked to your original organization websites. And thus when I click on organization.com, I can see that I don't have anything such as organization.com or such as sbi.com. Then you need to make sure that you need to be suspicious and take a mark upon it, that this isn't a, a real email or this is a spoofed email. And okay, coming to the next part. The next part is, for after checking the recipient name, we will go through the content of the email. The content of the email is, the subject of this is a KYC Paytm KYC update. Think a bit about the content part. Will Paytm really send me a KYC update on an email, that to on my organization email or some kind of my personal email with an unknown contact or someone like Chris Van? No, they won't. Usually, according to 2021's rules and regulations, company or organizations aren't allowed to send some personal registrations or for personal procedures related to banks in on your usual email. You need to have it through a company's website or through the through the centers provided. Then the next part you need to check is, you need to check the officialness or the grammatical mistakes in this email. For example, here we can clearly see that we have a lots of space in between this, and the grammatical foundation of this email doesn't seem or doesn't match the officialness that is required for the Paytm. And thus we can clearly find out during with three of the suspicious with three of the suspicions, you can clearly find out whether this email is a spoof or not. And another thing that I would like to clear is, when you see a link like this, when you see a embedded link that is used by the markdown language, just hover over it, and then at the bottom left of your screen you can see, is https/fraud.org available, is visible to everyone?
No.
Yes, on the left hand side below
Yeah,
corner.
left corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before clicking any malicious link that is embedded in it, hover over it and see that whether it is in which direction it is redirecting to. So here we can see that it is redirecting it to fraud.org and something like that.
Hmm.
And another thing is, are this shortened links. This shortened links embed themselves another link that will directly redirect you to the target website without giving you any idea of it. And the hovering of it doesn't give you a proper perspective. So these are some two links that you need to take care of.
All
So
right,
that's
thank
all
you,
for email
Atharva.
spoofing.
All right, so
We'll move on to the next topic.
all right, just a second. Yeah, so is my okay? Sorry, is my screen visible?
Yes.
All right. So, sir, are you all aware of phishing, or have you heard about phishing anywhere?
Yes.
All right. So, okay. So you all have just a fundamental or overall approach. So let's dive deeper into the phishing part. So as we all know, like phishing sounds like fishing, like the normal fishing. So what a fisherman does is, he used a food product or maybe some kind of food to attaches it to the hook, and then it puts in the water so that fish can come and take it. So what a fisherman does is try to put a trap so that fish get stuck into it. So similar thing, similar kind of scenario happens in the phishing side. So what a phishing hacker does is he tries to put some trap, or maybe as per I discussed, like he tries to put some kind of greed, or maybe he can try to manipulate you, and so because of that you can fall into the trap. So what is a phishing website? So phishing websites are nothing much. They are like nothing much different than the actual websites. They look exactly same like a Facebook login page, or maybe a PayPal login page, or there are many different login pages. Phishing websites, they imitate it. Like you all can see the description, like phishing is a type of fraudulent activity where a hackers attempts to gather personal information or credentials by impersonating a legitimate brand, for example PayPal, Facebook, Paytm, etc., etc., or Instagram, so or other social media accounts. So what it does is, when you try to log in, it redirects you to the original website. We'll be seeing this thing in the demo. So it redirects you to the original website. So victim thinks that there is nothing happened, nothing is wrong with him, but it's just redirecting me to the original website. But what happens in the backend? Backend is hacker gets all of your credential, like login ID and password. Because of that, the consequences of your login credentials getting to the hacker's hands. So this is the example. So for example, as per Atharva discussed about email spoofing. So phishing can happen through email spoofing. So my suggestions are you should always check the spelling. A hacker doesn't, maybe on purpose they don't put a good grammar for plagiarism check. So you can check for grammars, then spelling mistakes. Then, as per Atharva discussed, always hover your links. So, sir, are you interested in seeing a small demonstration how bad, fatal can the impact of phishing be?
Yes, please.
Yes. So, Atharva, back to you.
Okay. So we are back to look into the hacker's perspective again. So right now we will be seeing a phishing attack. We'll take a live demonstration how to create a phishing attack and a phishing link. And the main perspective of this practical session that I'm taking is to show you how easy it is to set up this highly devastating or destroying attacks that anyone can do. So here we can see that I've configured a phishing server in which you can see that there are plenty of options that are available to me. For example, Instagram, Google, Microsoft, PayPal, and all. Rightly, I've said.
Sir, one small question. Which domain would you like to, would you like us to take into the phishing account? Like, आपको कौन सा चाहिए? Google sign in page, Facebook sign in, Instagram.
I would say which is more popular and which is more easy to get into.
Okay, okay.
All right, Facebook. Atharva, you can try for Facebook. It's most popular.
So, here's the link that is generated through my server. When I just copy this link and then I paste it in my browser, then we can just let it load. Okay. So just if we just don't look at that URL link and we look at the complete page, it looks completely official page. There's no sign that it seems something unofficial or mysterious. A unaware person about cybersecurity would clearly enter up his passwords and emails and get caught into attack of phishing. So let us see how email and password are sent. So an attacker would take this email and, as discussed earlier, through email spoofing, he would send it to a company or a victim, and then a victim ends up clicking it, thinking that it is some kind of official website. It looks something legitimate, but when he enters his passwords and credentials, let us see what happens. For example, here I put my email, and here I put some number, some kind of password that is 123456. And okay, so we have some bad connections. Let it reset.
All right, some issue on the server side.
Just a minute,
So
sir.
it will
Let
take a
me
couple
change
of
my
minutes.
server. I will host it to a local host. Okay, so for now, I have hosted it to my local host, but the previous link that can be sent to everyone. Okay, when I click on when I enter my credentials, that is Atharva Hedge, and I set some passwords, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And as soon as I click the login page, you can see that it has redirected me to something facebook.com. And at this point, if I notice the URL, you'll see that it is facebook.com, and I will not give some proper attention to it. But in the back door, in the attacker perspective, you can see that the account and passwords are clearly submitted to me, and this link can be continued for n number of times. You can see that the next password I have got. So attacker can clearly take this email. He can take this email, take this link and send it to a mass emailing or do a mass emailing of it, and we can see that a lot number of victims fall prey for it, and they end up giving up credentials like this. For this instant, it was just a Facebook website. But for some severe incomes, what if the website or the phishing website was PayPal, or you for now you have sent some Facebook credentials for for instance, what would happen if would have sent a credit card details or some companies important companies mails or some credentials in it. This is not only limited just to Facebook credentials, it is also limited to uploading files and folders. So this was all about the phishing scenario and how an attacker aim what an attacker uh, g- how an attacker can attack through a phishing website. Okay, so
All right.
moving on to the next topic.
Okay. Thank you, Atharv. Sir, any questions till now? Would like to answer your questions.
Yes, I have two questions. One is for Tanishk. I don't know the surname, but the person who has represented about passwords and all.
Yes, sir.
Uh, uh, in your presentation, you have mentioned one URL in which wherein we can check whether our account or the password has
Yes,
been
sir.
compromised or not.
Yes. Have I been?
Uh, what is the source of this URL?
Sir, this is like like since we have been into cybersecurity since a long time, this is the most used website to check the data breaches and pawning which happened, because this is like one of the most legitimate website where everyone can use their like put your like without knowing anyone, like just put your passwords and check. You can blindly check all the things because this is one of the most secured website.
Mhm. No, the reason of asking this question is that ultimately, when we are putting something on this website and in the search bar, the same data is getting stored in the database of the website. So again, there is a risk of data getting stored in that website, which we are not sure how much secure it is. But as you say that it is being used from many years, from
Yes.
last few years, we may assume that it can be secure, right?
Yes, sir. But here the thing is, the best part about this website is, I'll show you once again. So the best part about this website is you're completely anonymous. So even if you use some other device, like I'm just for now I'm using my laptop, but if you use some other device, they don't know. They just for example, I'm just putting my password. They don't know which account I'm using, or maybe if you're using it in an incognito mode and I'm just typing my password, they won't get to know. Like the for credentials to be authenticated, they need to have two sets. One should be your either your name, email, or something like that, but they won't get to know your password because of the password. For example, you have your company website and I enter the password in your website. So if I just enter the password, you'll never know that I am using it. That's my password. So have I been pawned में क्या होता है, हम सिर्फ पासवर्ड एंटर कर देते हैं, उससे सिक्योर रहता है, लाइक उनको समझता नहीं, यू आर कंप्लीटली एनोनिमस.
No, my question was more towards the email ID which we'll be putting here, as in if
Okay.
it is safe or not. So
Okay.
ultimately, the email ID is getting stored in the database of the website. That is the another question whether it is being hacked or not. But again, at the on the other side, it is being stored on the database of the website that this is the valid email ID of the person.
Okay, so sir, this is just for checking it. Like they don't usually store in the database because since a long time it has been most trusted one, and you all can see like they have a lot of data related to the pond accounts. What their database server does is they just try to match the your email ID and the password in their database where it has been breached. So they don't usually store your emails in their database.
Okay, okay. And my
Uh,
second question, yeah,
so
I
just
would.
I'd like to add something.
yeah.
Actually, this website collects the data which is available on the dark web. So
Mm-hmm.
dark web is a place in a web where whatever the data is breached, people sell that data outside. So we think that we had not been to say Domino's last 1 year. But if this attack had been done 1 year before, whatever would be my mobile number I had given at that center, so that details might be collected by the attackers then,
Okay.
and they sell it on the website so that other people would take it. So at times we get some calls from for some advertising. We think from where he got our number. So these all data they collect from the dark web, which is sold there.
Okay.
So have I been pawned collects that data from there. It doesn't collect our input data there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm.
And another question is that being end user, I am not aware of what is security as all about, or how I should get to know that whether the website is phishing or not. So do we have any such guidelines? I mean, those can be
Yes, sir.
followed to
Yeah,
Completely.
check.
sir.
Completely.
Yeah.
We
Completely.
surely
So,
have, but considering it as a
all right.
full in your shortened date,
So
so
okay, I'll tell you in short. So what are the guidelines of a phishing link? So first of all, you all can see first the most important guideline. Can you see this HTTP word in my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so this means that there are two different types we'll be studying in the safe browsing thing. So HTTP and HTTPS. So most of the time you should always like not always, but you should trust the HTTPS websites because those are more secure. There is a less chance of data getting breached. And secondly, what you all should do is like even if they imitate like a facebook.com/application form, you all should check first before typing any credential. You all should check that where it is leading to. As you all can see, HTTP is not secure. So if I put some HTTP website, like I'll show you one. HTTP Facebook. Okay, it might lead me to the official one because it has been secure. You all can see connection is secure.
Hmm.
This is HTTPS. It automatically redirects to HTTPS. So this is the secure one. Even if you in the phishing link, what happens is you get some weird names. Like you all can see this number. Can you all see this number 69162169 and PPA? These are some
I'll show
weird
it
names.
live.
Yeah, he can. In the second demonstration, Atharva will show it to you live, like what exactly how to identify a phishing link.
Okay.
So coming to the safe browsing part, okay, don't rely on your browser to protect you from malicious websites. So what a browser does is you all can see like जब हम ads पे click करते हैं तो website पे आता है like browser pop-up में आता है कि तुम्हारा ये warning है, like there is a warning. It has given that you don't click or there is a virus in this. There is a virus in this website, but still because of our greed or fear, we click on those websites or maybe those ads. So what browser does is it just tries to give you warnings. It doesn't block your actual viruses or maybe actual downloading which is happening because of you. So it's completely in your hands to download it or not. So you should not rely on your browser. Then secondly, keep your browsers up to date. My important perspective of saying this is because many a times browsers maybe like there are different types of bugs, there are different types of patches happening. So what they do is you must be knowing that there are patches installations. When you can see the updating information, there are see like updated patches and all. So because of that, what a software update does is it tries to remove all the like tries to remove most of the bugs from the website which can keep you safe. Then running an antivirus, this is a most common thing. Anyone can know this. We won't elaborate much upon this. Running an antivirus. So using HTTPS, we discuss that this is the secure one. So next time you encounter with a link or maybe you try to put your credential, you will make sure like both of you will make sure that the link is HTTPS secure. Then you should always read the privacy policies. As Sir said, that have I been pawned websites? How do we know that if our database is stored or no? So you all can check out for the have I been pawned privacy policies to check whether a database has been stored or no. So my suggestion is always read the privacy policies, even though it's a lengthy task, but it can help you secure your accounts. Then regularly monitor bank statements. Everything is getting online, so bank like monitoring your bank statements can be proved to be beneficial because sometimes you are not aware that where is your data is going or where is your money going. So if you try to monitor it on a regular basis, you will be completely aware that where is your money going, and by chance if it gets hacked, or maybe hacker has your credentials, you can immediately turn off your, or maybe block your accounts. Then turn on your browser's pop-up blocker. So this is, so my team will send you the link. So don't worry, this is the complete secure link. This is our official Chrome website. So most of you all must be using Chrome. So what Chrome does is, you get this weird ads containing viruses. So what pop-up blocker does is, a pop-up blocker tries to skip those ad, or maybe tries to block them. So you all can see how to turn it on. So my team will send you the link. Ganesh, can you send the link?
Yeah, I've shared a link.
All right. So you all can see my presentation. Can you please send it? All right. So this is the link. This will directly redirect you to the pop-up blocker thing. Can you reshare it?
Yeah, 1 second.
Just pasted the Chrome, starting from the Chrome.
Tanishk, I've shared the link.
All right. Sorry for that. So you all can see mine is already allowed. So what you all have to do is just click on this. This will try to prevent most of the ads. So why ads need to be blocked? This is the one of the most important part. We'll have a look into this video why adwares are important. So let me know if you are able to hear this. Okay,
Yes.
are you all able
Yes, it
to
is.
hear?
Yes, it is audible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So just have a look at this 2-minute video.
While on your computer or mobile device, you notice an annoying pop-up ad. Regardless of how often you close out of it, it keeps reappearing. Chances are it's adware, short for advertisement and software. Adware is the name given to programs that are designed to display advertisements on your computer or mobile device, redirect your search request to advertising websites, and collect data about you. This information is then used to deliver custom advertisements to you. Adware is usually bundled with other files and programs that you have downloaded and is not necessarily harmful. However, it has the potential to be. Pop-ups, toolbars installed in your browser, and changes made to your homepage and default search engines are common occurrences with adware. Aside from the annoyance these issues cause, adware can massively slow down your computer's performance and can even crash the entire system. Adware can also be malicious by hijacking your browser and redirecting you to potentially unsafe sites. Most alarming is that some adware contains Trojan viruses and spyware, specifically designed for stealthy installation. Unfortunately, adware doesn't usually have an uninstall option, meaning that these types of programs can be difficult to remove. What's more, some antivirus solutions may not be able to determine whether a specific adware program is a threat or not. Fortunately, there are many ways to limit exposing your computer or mobile device to adware. For example, make sure that whatever files and programs you download are from a reputable website. When installing programs, carefully read through the terms and service agreement for any hidden adware that you might not be aware of. Pop-up blockers can also limit the exposure to adware. Not all adware is badware. However, for the dangerous forms of adware, equipping your computer and mobile device with the latest internet security software is the best way to keep your system safe and secure.
All right. Any questions on this?
So, what will be the suggesting option? We have to keep on or off?
Sir, keep it on.
Keep it on. Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
keep it on so that it will try to block most of the ads, not all, because there are some ads which can't be blocked because of the Google AdSense policies.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
this is the suggestion, and the best option is not to click on the ads. Best option. Let adware doesn't manipulate you. So the importance, coming to the data importance of data encryption. Tanishk Bansali will have a look into it.
Yeah, so encryption in cybersecurity is very important since without encryption, if you send something to someone, it can be breached by certain hackers, or it can be leaked on dark web. So despite a data breach, if in case it happens with you or your company, so the encryption will help make sure that the data is not being leaked. Encryption is like it is a crypto. It contains a cryptographic key which ensures that only the sender and the receivers will be able to see the data, or you can say access the data. Next slide. So these are some of the points that are really important for encryption. So data in transit is vulnerable. So as you can see that data in transit means that if you send a message from one end to the other end, it has to be secure. If it is not secure, it can be breached by certain hackers and your information can be leaked. So WhatsApp is the best example for this, which has end-to-end encryption, where the cryptographic key is present with you and your receiver or a sender. Security threats are evolving. So, as we proceed further in the timeline, the security threats are going to evolve, and every day new security threats will be emerging since the coding has been intense and very advanced due to AI and machine learning. And these threats will keep on coming, and we have to be aware of it. You have to stay updated for it. Uncertified applications could expose sensitive data. So whenever you install any software or you download any file, make sure that the sender is verified or the website is an secured website. So the website should contain HTTPS in the start of the link. Uh, if the if the sender is not verified, I suggest that you shouldn't download anything from the website, and make sure to report it. Hacking is a business. So nowadays that people pay for hacking others' account, which is kind of a business right now. But it is really harmful, and that is why data encryption is necessary. Since if your data is encrypted, it cannot be accessed by anyone but you, since you have that cryptographic key with yourself. Next slide. So privacy settings. So these are some of the. This is the most important in case of social media, where privacy settings is most important. So it can protect against hackers being able to build a profile of individual and writing phishing emails. So if you have your private account on any social media platform, so it helps that your information is not being open to anyone that is using the social account. Okay. Also, you can allow to whom the website your profile is visible or to whom it is not visible. So it is in your hands to make sure that you are safe. Moving on to next slide. So yeah, ransomware will be explained by Atharva and Tanishq. So I hand
All
it.
right. So any questions on privacy settings?
No.
No.
All right. All right, sir. No issues. So ransomware. We are coming to the hack. One of the biggest part in the cyber crime, that is called ransomware. This is you might have heard it somewhere, right? Like you might have heard about the ransomware.
Yes, most probably in the news.
All right, all right. So we'll get into the detail of this ransomware. So what happens in ransomware is, so this is like ever evolving. Like it's getting increased day by day. What a hacker does is he can he can try to get some access to your computer, and he can encrypt. What I mean by encrypt is he can put your files in locked in such a way that you won't be able to unlock it until and unless hacker has the key. So what hacker does is, in this ransomware, hacker demands for some money. So if you have some important files, a hacker can use all of your files and your data to use it on the dark web, as ma'am explained. That dark web is one of the most harmful things as per now going on. So he can use your data, or maybe if you're the company administrator, then he can give permissions to other people so that anyone can access your company files. Then malicious actors then demand some ransom in exchange. As per I mentioned, that hackers, known as malicious actors, they demand some ransom. Ransom means some kind of money, like a cryptocurrency. You all must be aware of cryptocurrency. People completely stay anonymous while transacting. So they demand some kind of cryptocurrency in exchange for decryption, so that hacker will give the key. But even if we pay, sometimes they don't. Like we can't trust the hackers. They just don't give the key for a key to our computers, or maybe there are some payment related frauds. So if they lock our accounts and only they have the keys, So this is the one of the most and biggest ongoing issue. So coming to the hacker's perspective, Atharva will show you how a ransom attack works. So over to you, Atharva.
Okay, so till now, Tanishka have given us a brief idea about what a ransomware is. Okay, so exactly what ransomware is. A ransomware is a piece of malicious code when that is sent in your computer, and when you give it a permission to execute, as soon as you give it permission to execute, it goes on encrypts all your computer data, and in return for decrypting it, the attacker or the hacker demands for some amount of money or some amount of demand that you need to fulfill. Till now we have seen that why till now we have heard a lot, we have seen a lot that you need to be regularly updated, you need to be up to date with the antivirus. Although antivirus is a must thing in a computer, but you need to be always updated to it. Let us take a brief look complete ransomware attack when an hacker can do. So, through our previous knowledge of email spoofing and phishing, we can see that I have put it up a template here in which it shows me that I am Pratik Agarfal from this is my email address. This you can take a look on it. That is the subject of this email is instructions from project manager. So, thinking about through a hacker's perspective, it is very easy for an hacker in nowadays to gain some information about an organization or a company in which the victim is. For example, the victim here is Atharv. Then the hacker will the hacker can easily through open source intelligence, he can easily take up, or he can easily take up his email address and some information that it is available, available open source to him. Then through the knowledge of email spoofing and phishing, he takes up an email template like this where he says that this is an instruction from senior project manager, and he gives him a condition through a social engineering about that this is the instruction, and I recommend you to go through all the instructions mentioned as per the PDF document. Okay, let us send it. And this email was sent successfully. Now, this part was through a hacker's perspective. You can notice that I have sent a malicious link in it, which is this one. Now let us move on to the victim's perspective. I'll stop sharing and I will start sharing the victim screen. Okay, so this is the victim screen, and is my screen visible to all? Okay,
Yes.
so here we can see that I have got an email from Pratik Agarwal, and here we can see that taking it through a victim's perspective, here he will see that, yeah, okay, it is Pratik. He will not take a complete insight about the recipient, considering that he is unaware of cybersecurity awareness. Then he will take a look at that. Hello, Atharv, I'm Pratik, working in the same intel department. Glad to see you. And it seems something legit to me and something important to me. And as the subject is given to be as from a senior project manager, then he will instantly go and open this link. I'll copy this link. I'll paste it in this browser, and I can see that some file is being downloaded. Some malicious file is being downloaded in me. I will not take a note on it. I'll go to the download section, and as soon as I click open, then you will see this permissions. As I've stated before, hacker cannot manipulate your data unless and until you permit him. It's on your hands to what extent you keep your file secure. So as soon as I click the run button, you can see nothing has happened. You cannot see anything that has happened. When you open your task manager, you won't see anything that is anything malicious that is running. But in background, you have opened a backdoor to the hacker. Let us see what that backdoor looks like. Here we can see that this is some company data saved in my downloads folder, and here it has some arbitrary data which considering it as some important data about the company. Let us take an hacker's perspective now. What what amount of credentials or what amount of data that he gets. Stop presenting. Okay, I'll present it here now. Okay. So here is this visible to everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So these are some technical terms. We don't need to know about it, but yeah, we'll just look into the what hackers' perspective is, like the normal grammatical keywords.
Okay, so this is a terminal. Now and all, you can see that a session is opened in the hackers in the victim's computer. Through this, after as soon as the victim has clicked the button of executing the permission, I have got a complete privilege to that hacker's computer. In this, you can see that I have a file named company data. For instance, I can go into company data file name. I can see that all the files that is being stored into that's company accounts.txt, site allotment.txt. Let us take a look at company data txt. Okay, that seems to be empty. Okay, oh, this was the site allotment that we saw previously. Some arbitrary data, considering that as important one.
So, sir, these are completely two different devices. Like the previous device you show that
The
was of
victim screen.
victim's computer, and this is of a hacker's computer.
So I will show some privileges that I am able to do. Not only I can see all the files of the victim, but also I can edit the files, I can download the files, and I can delete the files. For example, let me give an example. So we can let us edit the file that is okay. I'll delete the file first. First of all, I will download the file that is download site allotment.txt. And as soon as the file is downloaded in my root directory, that is in my directory, I can delete this file. Okay, so here we can see that we have completely deleted this file, site allotment.txt, and now we will see how can I edit this file, how a ransomware exactly works. We will get an insight about it from here. Here, when I write, you have been hacked and you need to pay me, and you need to pay me $1,000 to get it encrypted. So this was all that we did till now. Now let us take an insight to a victim's perspective, that how he will be facing it.
So he's coming back to the victim computer.
Okay, so here we can see that our complete data is manipulated by it. Earlier we had some folders such as site allotment.txt, but now he has removed it. And when I click on computer data, you can see that you have been hacked and you need to pay me $1,000 to get it encrypted, sorry, or decrypted. So this is works. The attacker sends an arbitrary file in a malicious file into your computer. As soon as you click open it or click to open it, the ransomware will take over all your computer, will encrypt all your files, and then that file is downloaded by the hacker, or he will just keep it encrypted. To get the decryption, to get it decrypted, you need to pay some amount to it. And the most impacted consequences of this attack is when you open this file in an organization network, this ransomware can not only take out your on your organization network and infect all the running computers, all the available computers that are on it, and leading to a huge impact that company will face. So this was all about the live demonstration about the ransomware.
All right. Thank you, Atharva. So we are coming to the next part. We have a similar part. Sorry. So what we discussed is Ransomware, what happens in ransomware is creation and deployment of simple viruses. As Atharva created a simple virus and he deployed it into the victim's computer. We'll be discussing social engineering the further part. Then PC takeover, as Atharva did a PC takeover using that deployment of simple viruses. Then ransomware can be, payment related frauds like ransom. As per we said that hackers tries to use like you ask for some money, or maybe hackers can hack the accounts and then ask for some money, so that the victims can victims gets compelled to pay the money to hackers. And payment, and coming to the payment related frauds as well, there are different types of social engineering attacks. We'll be having a look into the depth look into the social engineering attacks which can cause payment related frauds. Then there are mitigation techniques. So what is a mitigation? Mitigation is lessen the impact of severe causes. So how to mitigate this, or maybe try to be aware about the ransomware. So you should always update the softwares and operating system. So operating system can be Windows, like it's one of the most popular used. Then Ubuntu Linux is there. So there are different operating systems. So updating them will be safer, because the more it gets updated, the more it gets secured. Then you should never click on the links. You might have got to know that you're not supposed to click on these different weird links until and unless these are of trusted organizations. Then backup, you should always back up the data. So by chance, if a hacker tries to gain access and he gets the access to your computer, you'll always have a backup in your hard drive or maybe your cloud storage. Then you should follow a safe practices when using devices that connected to internet. Safe practices like safe browsing methods, then password security and all, which we discussed. So social engineering, so let me tell you in short what is social engineering. Until this everything is good, so any questions?
No.
Yes, I have few, but I'll take it at the last slide. I mean, in the last slot of the session.
All right, sir. No issues.
Yeah.
So, social engineering. So, what a social engineering is, like most of the payment-related frauds or maybe the organizational data breaches happen because of social engineering. The more technical it sounds, it's not at all technical. It's more about psychological tactics. So, social engineering tries to a social engineering is a type of hacker who tries to manipulate you and gain your trust. And what it trust is like, if he gets your trust, because you trust him, you might give up all of your information and the data which company or you have with you, and so that hacker will gain access to all this stuff. Then this is an important information security issue. So what should we do is, you should make sure that when you're asked by someone to provide information, or allow the use of your computer accounts, always try to cross verify them, like who is this person, where is he coming from. Try to use your try to use your skills of finding all the company and the names related to a company and the associations related to this name. So we'll take a short video of 2 minutes which will explain you about the social engineering in detail. So I'll play this video.
The sound isn't
Traditional
audible.
hacking aims to
Okay,
compromise
it
the
is audible.
Okay.
security settings of IT systems and applications. Social engineering attackers attempt to exploit the users of these technologies by claiming to be employees, vendors, or support personnel to try to trick the workers. People are trusting and willing to help others, and the attackers use that to their advantage by deceiving users into revealing information that compromises data security. Traditional protection from malware and viruses will not protect you from a social engineering attack. Once they gather bits and pieces of the organization, they'll be able to put the puzzle together and exploit the business. One technique is phishing emails, which are typically the most successful form of social engineering. This is where hackers will send out emails to their victims in hopes of gaining sensitive information by tricking them into clicking a malicious link, giving the hacker access to information. Another technique is physical breaches. This is where the hacker does an impersonation of someone else in order to gain access to a secure location. Attackers can also use the technique of pretext calling. This is where an attacker makes up a scenario to obtain the information they need. Pretext calling often requires trust to be formed between the attacker and the victim. Don't be fooled by social engineering tactics. Be sure to train employees to follow safe security measures in the event of an attack. Employees should always be cautious when sharing personal information on social media platforms. Never open an email that looks suspicious, or let a stranger connect to your wireless network. Don't give strangers personal information until you can verify where they are calling from. Review security policies to stay up to date with the latest social engineering techniques. Always use a paper shredder to properly dispose of your printed material. It is important to treat security awareness and training as an investment. For more information on social engineering, please visit us at greyvoc.com.
So this all clear about social engineering, sir? Any questions on this part?
No.
No.
Yeah. So coming to the next part. So reporting an incident and a cybercrime. So Tanishq,
Yes. So it is really important to report any incident which has happened to your organization or your company. So it is everyone's job to protect the workplace. And also it is everyone's duty that if any cybercrime incident happens in your organization or with your employer, it needs to be reported on the websites, which will be further mentioned. And also, it is his or her responsibility to make aware about it and tell others that if you receive the same or if it happens with you, please report it. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah, so these are the three websites where you can report any incident. So cybercrimegovernment.in is the national website where you can report the incident. And in case you are from Pune or you're local, so punepolicegovernment.in /cybercell is the local website where you can report any cybercrime incident that has happened with you or your organization. Also, if it is happened with you as an individual, you can also report it there. So even if the issue is very minor or it is a very small incident that has happened, it is really important to report it, since you cannot tell that the hacker or the attacker is just going for the smaller or minor issues or minor attacks. So the hacker must be attempting to a bigger attack which can be dangerous to many organizations. So it is your duty to report it as soon as it happens with you. So Tanish, can you please click on the website and show us the website
all right.
interface?
So for example, okay, just coming to the website interface. This is the cybercrime portal of the Indian government. Just give me a second. Loading. Okay. Are you able to see this website?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so what you all, as a respectable citizen of this country, you all can do is file a complaint, and you can, I accept. But before accepting that, I make sure that you are able to, read all the privacy and policies of this website. So there is this cybercrime related to women and child, and there are other cybercrimes which come out of this category, like most of the cybercrimes which happens. So if I click on this, then you all can fill your details and then login ID, mobile number, OTP, and after that you can submit it. And after that, what it redirects is you to, like there's a description you need to put, what type of cyber attack has happened, what types of links are associated with it. So this is a pretty easy interface, anyone can use it. It's very user friendly. So coming to the conclusion part, so takeaways, what are the key takeaways we should take? So by this awareness, we got to know that how to stay safe online, like how to use browsers and how to rely on the connections and the internet while doing safe browsing practices. Then you should never, you all might have got to know that you should never trust any spam or irrelevant messages, or the emails came by, different organizations which are not trusted. Then how to report an incident online, we saw it recently. Then how to avoid clicking on malicious website, that is the one of the most important part. You should never click on the malicious website, and even if you do, then don't ever try to perform the actions where they suggest you to do. Then how to make your password secure, this is one of the most important security goal. Then how you shouldn't get manipulated by social engineers. And lastly, not to type in your personal credentials into any non-trusted website. So these are the key takeaways, and these are the references we did for our research. So that's all from our side, so we are open to the questions.
Okay, my question is very basic. Basically, if I come across any phishing website, is there any platform to report such website so that it can be down immediately, and or we may not have 10 more victims on the same phishing website? I mean, is there any common platform or website or web URL wherein we can report all those false URLs, and we can set it down immediately or maybe sometime after reporting.
Yeah,
Sir,
so
due to this cyber, okay, Atharva will explain in detail. Sorry for the interruption.
yeah, so you can surely report it. You are given that in the chat box, but as we all know that internet is a wide scope, and taking some proper actions on it will definitely take a lot of time. Hence, and being anonymous and hosting website anonymously on internet is also a easy trend nowadays. So taking down them is a bit issue, but government can ban those websites for some particular areas. That's for sure, that can be done in a less amount of time, but taking it down is a bit messy thing, or it's a bit hard time. But you can surely report all of those website on government website as a fraud ones.
Okay.
Also, sir, there's one more thing. So most of these phishing websites. So if you update your browser every time, so I have my updated browser. My Google Chrome is updated to the latest one. So this is one phishing website I tried to enter, and you all can see that deceptive site ahead, and attackers may try to trick you doing some things. So these are the like many of the browsers will give you the updated browsers will give you the warnings about the phishing website so that you won't fall in the trap. So make sure you update all your system and your browsers as well, so you'll be able to acknowledge this phishing
So
websites.
the same
Not click.
link when entered into my web browser, that is isn't updated, didn't give me any notification or didn't give me any kind of warning, but the one with Tanish did, because it is up to date.
Okay.
So, sir, once the attack is caused, so because of emerging crimes in India and a lot of population and people are not aware of this cyber awareness and safety, what happens with Indian government is if anyone is trying to report, too many incidents are happening every day. So India can't do it immediately. So there's not an immediate action taken on. But although if your company's website gets hacked or something like that, then you can report it as soon as possible to it will have a lesser impact of your like lesser damage on this websites. So secondly, you all can do is like after updating the softwares, if you get these if you encounter with these kind of websites, then you all can just put in the portal, and even if not immediately, then later on they'll try to handle these consequences. And now there are too many good features and secure features as well that it will notify you if some accounts has been logged in. So my suggestion is before creating or maybe after creating an account, make sure you turn on your two-factor authentication, so that even if the hacker gets all of your credentials via phishing, you will get an OTP. Until unless you sign in with that OTP, you won't be hacker won't be able to sign in into your account.
Okay.
Sir, I want to add to this. There are few websites which have the list of the fake websites. So one of the link I have shared in the chat window, that's scalar.com, which has a list of the blacklisted websites which had been hijacked or which had been phished. So we
Okay.
can refer that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So any other questions?
What I think is vigilance is more important. I mean, the awareness amongst the citizens is very much important, because ultimately the victims, if you see, most of them are not educated as in terms of computer usage as such. So I would see a challenge as in how can anyone educate those users, those are not familiar with the computers or any online or any internet things. So if you put some light on that, would be helpful for me to pass this information within my organization.
Sir, this is Atul Kulkarni.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Atul. Yeah.
Actually, we are taking this initiative only for that purpose, and also we to take one step further ahead. We have tie up with Quickheal, we are also planning one another program with them. The how the some micro level things can be accelerated, and it can be easily explained to the user in a simpler way. Because if you talk much more technically, the end user, those who are not conversant with the computer technology, they do not understand. So this is an attempt that we are reaching to the various. We have very good company connect. So first, we have decided to connect with the various companies where people can because everybody is using smartphone and everything. So somehow, some other day, this attack has been done with him or her. So let us aware what exactly thing is there, then how the thing can be prevented. अटैक होने के बाद we should not go for claim or something. Before that one, if we are aware, it's always better to save our all energy on. So this is an attempt that we are trying to get connected.
Yes, you're right. And thank you so much for this session. I am really impressed with the kind of presentation. Generally, we attend trainings, those are more of theoretical ways, but I could see today there are some practical, those were being shown us as well.
Yes.
So I think it is more beneficial for anyone or any end user to grasp that training and to take away the training contents in more simpler way. Okay, one question out of my curiosity. It is not related to this cyber security or something like that. But are you? I mean, is the Kali Linux is a part of your academics, or is it something that is of your interest area that you have learned Kali?
Sir, so Kali Linux is an operating system where each and every hacker and each and every cybersecurity aspirant uses. So if you want to, be a cybersecurity aspirant, you need to think like you should have an approach like a hacker. That is the reason Kali Linux is the most feasible to use as a hackers or maybe a cybersecurity aspirant perspective.
Okay, but is it part of your academics, or is it something
Uh,
that is of your interest?
Sir, actually, it's not the part of the academics, but we have a cyber cell initially, which I described about. So there we actually do all these things. We teach students and we do all this hacking things. Kali is not much recommended at the beginning level. We do use it, but when we go in depth, we try to use more different kind of tools depending on the applications. So we use Nessus, we use Burpsuit, Metasploit.
Okay.
So Kali has all this, but we don't recommend it much, and even industry don't accept Kali much.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done with my questions. Anshuman, if you can put your
No,
questions.
no, I don't have any questions because you almost everything is covered. And thank you so much, Atul Kulkarni ji and Vaishali ji, for arranging this and such a nice training. Yes, all the students are doing very well, and all the best to for their bright future.
Sir, a
Uh,
kind request. I have
yeah.
shared a feedback link in the chat window.
Yeah,
If
will
you just can spare 2 minutes and give the
yeah,
feedback, it would be
Also,
helpful.
sir, one small request. Like, would you mind if you turn your camera on? We just need to take a screenshot of everyone.
yes.
All right.
So we request everyone to just put on your cameras.
Atharva, okay.
Tanish,
Atharva, yes.
Is it on, Tanish?
Yes. Can you just log out from your other account?
Just
Just a second. He's coming.
and also a request to both of you, please recommend if somebody needs some such kind of training, because right now we have a full-fledged team of students we can spare, and pandemic, a lot of things that happen means many people have they become the victim of these such things. So if something is you can recommend to your supplier, vendor, or someone, we can think on that.
Yeah, this was the idea that we decided that we first will attend the training. Then, if we see that it is good for each and everyone in the organization, then we can recommend the same to the other team members as well. So, as Anshuman said, that first we will discuss internally, and we can see how can we impart it to the other team members by maybe specific towards few subjects to our employees in their interest areas, and we can maybe ask you to modify the presentation in line with that. I mean the requirements which are in line with the policies of Atlas Copco.
Sure. Definitely.
Sure, sir.
All right. So I'll be taking a screenshot. So everybody smile, please. All right. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for your time. I hope you liked it and waiting for your feedback.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you all.
you.
Thank you
Bye.
so
Thank
much.
you all.
Thank
Yeah.
you,
Thank
sir.
you so
Thank
much.
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Have a nice
Thank
day.
you,
Bye
sir.
bye.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, can you stop the recording now?
Yes, yes. Wait a minute.